Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame and Cinnamon Sugar, and I am just now leaving work. It's 30 minutes after I was supposed to have left, but this is the thing. They're having a hiring situation, right? This time it was basically like open to the public, and so people showed up. When I first walked out, it had to have been like 50, 60 people. Then people were still coming in. It's gonna last all day. Um, but yeah, so I just didn't make eye contact because it's like, let me just keep walking because I ain't got time to tell these people what it's hidden for. They got to figure it out on their own. Some people usually already know, and it's like, I got to do what I got to do for the time being, or I'm willing to work through it, or whatever, right? Because as I've already told y'all before, believe it or not, this is a place where ever since I first moved here, it has been one of the top places that people have always said it's been so hard to get on at this place. Okay? And apparently it really used to be hard. Somebody who's been here 20 something years straight up told me that they went through so much to get on back in the day that it was just crazy. And I'm like, golly, like everything that she told me, I was like, oh no. Like she had to wait 6 to 9 months just to finally get on. Like, she had an interview. She had to go through like different stages, and it took like 9 months to complete. 9 to 12, almost a year for it to be completed, because they went through that rigorous of a hiring process. And I'm just like, goodness gracious, apparently y'all weren't in need. Lord. Now, I don't want you to have a hiring event because you desperate. I mean, even if you are desperate, I'm saying I need for you to get quality people. Don't sit up here, have an event, and just hire everybody like you've been doing, and then it ends up being a mess as usual. Now, I just found out when I did go to the round table talk situation yesterday that they hadn't been hiring. They had been actually outsourcing from somewhere else. They had been allowing other people to interview them. Now, I'm like, well, was this before or after COVID? Because the person who interviewed me, even though it was a situation where we had to do it through Zoom because of COVID, this was somebody who has been here since this place came about, which has been like almost 30 years now. Now, this location is what I'm talking about. This business has been around for quite some time. I still can't tell y'all what it is just yet. When I leave, and I've been gone for a good little while, I'll tell y'all. Y'all gonna be like, girl, wait a minute. Yeah. But, yeah, it's one of those. But, yeah, the place, it's been here. The building here has been here like almost 30 years. So, anyway, the person who hired me was somebody who has been here since the doors opened, and I think he's retired now. But he lived for me when the interview happened. And I mean, he was just like, I mean, this was the most interesting interview I've ever conducted. Like, I wasn't even supposed to do your interview. And I was like, oh. And I mean, he really wasn't trying to talk to me no more than like 5-10 minutes. My interview ended up being 45 minutes to an hour. Because I'm the type of person, I need to know what's going on. I am going to ask questions. And I mean, you left the floor open for me to answer, to ask stuff or whatever. I'm gonna ask. I need to know. Like, people don't understand, I am very, very inquisitive. I always have been, especially if I don't understand and I want to understand. I'm inquisitive. Now that I'm older, you know what I'm saying, even though it has always been instilled in me to be respectful and not to, do the most, I guess. But I usually have a tactful way in which I go by asking stuff. Now, I can be crass, so to speak, if I'm talking to somebody that's one of my friends and I'm trying to get something. I'm trying to get something from them. I'm trying to get them to get a takeaway from why I'm saying it the way that I'm saying it or something like that, right? But other than that, yeah, I typically am good with saying, you know what, I want this situation to be like this, and I'm gonna ask what I feel like I need to ask so that I can get what I need to get out of you. I asked them in so many questions. I didn't even realize that I had been talking that long. You know what I'm saying? Or that the interview had gone on for that long. And he was like, yeah, we've been on here like 45 minutes to an hour. And like, he told me that this was like one of the most enjoyable interviews he's ever, done. Like one of the most enjoyable conversations that he's ever had. And I'm like, oh wow, thank you. Like, I mean, I was just being myself. You know what I'm saying? You know how some people, they'll put on for the interview and they trash in real life. And it's just like, child, where were you? I don't want to send my representative. I want you to meet me when you first meet me. That's what that goes for relationships as well, honey. I'm gonna need for the representative to take a back seat. I need for you to know that I am me and to meet me. Oh Lord, that's the child. I cannot. I just so happen to say to myself, is that the side heifer? Yes, it is her. Child, okay, so before I get back to what I was talking about, I just saw the side heifer. You can go ahead and go, sir, because I don't want to hit you. You're welcome. So I just saw the side heifer. She's parked in her usual spot where the is that a park? No, ain't no parking spot. I'm gonna go up here though. She's parked in that spot that she was in before, where the married man and they were at the last time, right? And I'm just like, y'all just I think she's waiting on him. Cause it's like, why would you park way back there? Like, for what? And so she's waiting on him, I guess, because he's not here yet. His vehicle was still at work when when I just left out, and I left out 20 minutes late. Just saying. 30 minutes late, excuse me. But I'm just like, girl, you're just I really can't. But yeah, I'm finna roll by on purpose. Like, heifer, you know my car when you see it. Oh no, let me not do this. It's so funny to me. I'm like, girl, you are just. But anyway, forget all that. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm looking at the side heifer right now, and she's in one of her little parking spaces when she comes to this grocery store where she meets the married man. His vehicle was still at work, so I guess she's waiting on him to make an appearance. And I'm just like, girl, bye. Anyway, so I just cannot. I really can't. Oh, this light. Woo. So it's really cold today, y'all. When I'm done in this store getting what I gotta get, because it ain't gonna take me but less than 5 minutes to do what I gotta do in there and come out. But when I'm done, I'm gonna go get my car washed, even though I don't really need it. But I'm paying this membership, so I'm gonna go. After that, I'm gonna head home. Hopefully, if I'm not too tired, I'm going to do my hair or start on my hair, because I'm not going to have time. In a perfect world for me, I would love to do it the day before, which would be, of course, tomorrow. But, well, I was going to really do it Saturday and Sunday. But the divorce man didn't show up, and I didn't know he wasn't going to show up, because I was going to at least wash my hair and prep it and do whatever, right? Yeah, that didn't happen. But I want my hair to look how I want it to look. And I'm hopeful that it's going to turn out the way that I'm envisioning. We're going to see, though. We're going to see. So when I get home, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the recap review of Zatima. There were other things that I wanted to do as well, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do those things, because I need to focus on my hair. I am definitely going to watch Zatima, The Handmaid's Tale. What else? 911. Like, I am days late on that. And it was something else, because I went to sleep a little early yesterday because I was anticipating having to stay over. The Lord intervened and I did not have to stay over today. I'm just trying to tell y'all don't be understanding, because I was already dreading it. Let me see. Okay, hopefully I won't start freezing. But anyway, so I had a good day at work today. Okay. The most hated task was something that I was supposed to do today, but the guy who I'm friends with on the PlayStation Network ended up walking up to me, and he was like, oh, well, do you want me to do it? Because I can do either or. And I was like, well, to be honest, my hand bothers me a whole lot, and it was always an issue for me even before I injured my hand when I'm doing that particular task. And so he was like, oh, well, I can go up there and do it. And so I was like, oh, okay, thank you. I appreciate it. So he actually went up there. They had somebody who was coming in early to help him. And there was one other person who tried to go up there and help. But they said that they were good. So, I mean, they did what they did. He decided to forego his last break because it ended up dipping into what my last break was going to be. And I'm just like, y'all, I'm pretty sure I lost 7. If I had to guess, I lost at least 7 pounds today. That's how much pushing, pulling, and I did the absolute most today. And I still had a great day despite that. You know what I'm saying? Because I did most of the, I went and retrieved almost every single thing that was ours. He didn't go and get resources most of the time. I went to go get our resources. So anyway, I'm not complaining. It is what it is. I did what I had to do. And it was a lot. That was a whole lot that I had to go get. But yeah. So, before I go into what happened right before I left that caused me to actually have to leave. Well, leave, not have to. I just ended up leaving 30 minutes late. Okay, so I'm at work. And so I heard the supervisor say something over the radio. And I was like, I'm not going to wait until my break. I want to know now if I misunderstood him or not, because we were supposed to go do the most hated task between like a couple of hours before we were supposed to get off work. Okay. And so I didn't know if he was saying that now it had been pushed back and we were going to do it like an hour before we got off. So I was like, no, I kept wrestling with the thought of whether or not I should say anything or just trust that I heard wrong. I thought that I heard wrong and I did right, but this was the thing, I didn't know for sure. So I was like, my area is running the way that it should. It's running like a well-oiled machine. Let me just go down here. I'm not even finna tell him I'm leaving because, typically you're supposed to tell your partner that you're gonna leave and go do whatever. I ain't say nothing to him because, like I said, my side was doing what it was supposed to do. So I went to go see the guy who I told y'all about that I'm cool with. The one who the married man approached and told him the lie of he and I sleeping together, he wishes. But anyway, so I rolled up on him. He was having a conversation with this other guy who I've told y'all about before, who he apparently likes my natural hair. And he always asks me, am I going to lock it up? And I always tell him no. Like, he literally asks me every couple of months, am I going to lock my hair up? And I'm like, no. So anyway, so they were talking, and I'm the type of person that, depending on what's going on, I'll just stand a decent distance away from you while you're having your conversation so it doesn't come off as though I'm eavesdropping. So I was just like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I waited about 2-3 minutes. So then old boy was like, okay, sweetheart, how may I help you? And so he started putting on this show, right? And I was just like, and I really was looking at them like, what in the world are y'all doing? So he gonna grab me up and like pull me in. And so he got me like, I'm really looking uncomfortable. I'm looking at him like this because he done pulled me in. And so he was like, what did you want? And so I ended up telling him that I had a question and that I started actually expressing what the question was or whatever. So that's when he pulled me. So then anyway, the guy who likes natural hair was like, I don't like this. Y'all gonna have to separate. It's COVID. Like, he really started going off about it. I started laughing because it seemed as though they were kind of fighting over me. And I was just like, y'all are crazy. So he was like, no, you know what it is. So he was talking to the guy because the guy, he over here was like, I thought we had something special. I was like, what? So, like, we do be having conversations or whatever, but I'm like, what are you talking about? And so he was like, I feel some type of way. I thought we had something special. So he was like, the other guy was like, anyway. And so I expressed to him, I told him what the question was, and he was like, no, it's supposed to be at this time, whatever. I was like, okay. So I'm about to go on by my business. And so he making a scene again. And so I was just like, oh my God. I was like, you know what? I'm done with y'all. And so I tried to just walk off because I didn't want them to start bickering. And so he basically was telling me bye. And then I kind of was just walking off. He was like, hey. So I was like, you know what? Just like your buddy, the married man, I was like, you know what? He was like, yeah. And so that just fueled the fire. I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, since we have the auditors coming in, the other guy, he was assigned to be one of the people who would go around and make sure that everything was the way it was supposed to be, because we're not supposed to have anything out of place and all this other stuff. So he ended up like maybe 30-45 minutes later coming upstairs to where I was, walking around, making sure that everything was the way it was supposed to be, right? So he gonna roll up, and he was like, I can't believe you. I feel some type of way. I was like, why? So then he gonna have the audacity to say, I better not see that again. And so I said, well, I think you should close your eyes then, because you're not gonna like what you see. Because I'm just playing along. Like, nothing is actually going on. I'm just playing along just to see what his reaction is gonna be. So he was like, what? Like, he acted like he was so hurt. He was like, I can't believe this. That really, I was just like, what? Okay, so for me, I said, okay, when I go on my break, I'm gonna go and tell old boy what was said, because I feel like he might beat me to the punch, because I didn't know if he had made it over to the other departments or whatever. But I was like, I'm gonna beat him. I was like, I'm gonna go beat him to go and say what I was gonna say to him, because I don't want him to go and say nothing to him and then it get back to him first. Because I felt like, I don't know what it was. Something told me, I was like, let me just go and tell him, because I feel like I need to beat him to it. Okay, so I went and told him what was said, and I already knew what his reaction was going to be. He was like, that's my girl. And so, we did like that, right? And so I was like, so tell me why we crossed paths. I was coming back from my last break, and he was like, yeah, he told me that you came to him and told him what was said. And see, I was wondering if you was going to do that. And I was like, see, no. I was trying to beat you to the punch, because I felt like you was going to go and say something. He was like, no, I was testing you. I was trying to see if you was going to say something. I wasn't even going to say nothing about it, because I was like, no, I thought you were going to say something. He was like, no, I wasn't even going to say nothing. I just was going to wait and see if you was going to say something. So I was like, what? Because you know how some people are. They're quick to go run tell something. And tell me why. Every time the interactions were happening, the crack cocaine sniffing man that used to work with me at the first job that I used to work at when I first moved here, he does the same job that they do or whatever. He all up in the conversation. I'm just like, when I first moved here, I had a man, okay? And he was not the slightest bit interested in me. I was still fat then. So then out of nowhere, like a year or two after I was working at the job, he started sniffing around. I'm looking at him like, now, I'm saying to myself, now you know good and well I have a man. So I don't even know why you were taking it upon yourself to try to take interest in me now. I'm still fat. I'm still the same fat person that you saw when I first got here. So nothing has changed. My hair got longer. That was it. Like, this was before I went natural. So the only thing that had actually changed is that my hair got longer. It's like, still fat. Like, what is we doing? So he be killing me. Like, he hasn't really said anything to me since he first rolled up on me and was like, hey, so do you... Y'all, I'm sorry. These people be weird around here. I don't be having time. He was like, so do you, didn't we used to work together? And that's the dumb part. We worked together at the first job that I went to, and the last job that I was at, he was there as well. Okay? Now, despite the fact that he's a coke addict or whatever, or he was, I don't know if he still is or not, because he really was taking bumps. He was taking bumps of drugs at work. Yeah. He worked at the first job that I was at, and he ended up working there. And it's funny because he was working at the first job before me, because obviously I'm not from Virginia and he is. And the second job, I went there before he did, and then he got a job there and he became a maintenance man there, and he was a mechanic at the first job. And I was just like, okay. I saw him here, and he got here after me, and he's not a mechanic here because you have to do this particular job first if you plan to be a mechanic. But I don't think he's trying to be one here. They get paid great over here though. But anyway, sorry, I just had to tell y'all the background. But yeah, he's standing there every time somebody's talking about something. He come from out of nowhere, and I'm like, I'm not talking to you. I don't understand why you want to be up in my mouth. Why you always in my mouth? Like, I just be like, ooh, he used to do that all the time. Like, it's like he became interested. Once he became interested in me, all of a sudden he just found a way. Anytime I would be talking to somebody, he would just be in my mouth. And I'm just like, anyway, so, I ain't got time for it. So, yeah, that was funny. That whole ordeal was funny, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't know how I'm gonna make it, y'all, because I gotta go home, wash my hair, which is a task in itself. Even though my hair is shorter because I've been cutting it and all that, it's still a lot. I'm tired. My plan is to, man, I want to tell y'all, but I can't. I want to surprise y'all, especially if it come out cute. I don't know if it's gonna come out cute or not because I haven't done this particular style or protective style, so to speak, or whatever, to this degree. Yeah, it's something I've been wanting to do, but I said I'm gonna wait until it gets cooler, and just so happens that it's cooler now and this function is about to happen, and I'm trying to be, look decent by the head when I go to this function. So tired from work, and it be taking everything in me when I get off work to do anything really, because it's so draining there most days. But anyway, y'all, that was a funny exchange. So let me finally tell y'all what happened when I was leaving. So, like I said at the beginning of this video, they having a hiring event today. Okay, everybody named Mama there. I was like, oh my gosh, it had to be by at least 50 something people. And I was just like, wait a minute, what is going on? I'm talking about, ain't nowhere for these people to sit. I was just like, somebody please. Then they had a line of people at the door. I was like, oh no. And the whole time I wanted to be like, run for your life. But like I said earlier, a lot of people, they probably already know what it's hitting for, and they just want to get in and get on, pay some bills, do what they got to do. Cool, whatever. I'm tired though. So I'm thinking I'm finna go to my car and, get up out of there. One person stopped me and she was talking to me. And so I was like, oh, okay. We talked for about 2-3 minutes. Then I finally went on by my business. So then my partner stopped me. We started talking. We had a good old conversation. And so he ended up talking to me. He is crazy. He was like, yeah, I saw plenty of people who they just need to roll up on them and just be like, thank you for your interest, but you ain't gonna get this job, basically. I was like, how dare you? You don't know if the people were going to be able to work out or not. And so he was like, nah. So one woman walked by, and she ain't had no spunk in her step or nothing. He was like, man, I already know she going to be lazy. She's just walking up in here like, man, let me just get this over with. Like, I was like, no. So we having a conversation about a lot of the, the people who were out there or whatever. And he was like, no, just look at them. Look. I was like, oh my gosh. So then the guy who I was talking about earlier, who had grabbed me up, and we do the little, stuff like this, he done came out the door. Oh my gosh. Why did we get him started? And so he was like, look at these MFers. I wouldn't hire none of them. He was talking about out of all the people he done seen, he said, I might grab maybe 6 of them. And I'm talking about it had to have been at least 50-some people already. And that's just the people who showed up when it first started. They're going to be coming throughout the day. And I'm just like, ooh, child. So they was reading them people. People were still being dropped off and just getting out the car and whatever else. And excuse me. And they were doing all of these things. And they weren't looking professional. And I told them, I was like, well, I'm confused because when I did my interview, even though it was COVID, all kinds of things were going on. When I spoke to the woman who no longer is there anymore because she retired, she explained to me how they dress because I had no idea how they even dress. When she told me what they be wearing or whatever, I was like, oh, well, I know I should still dress up for my Zoom meeting, my Zoom interview. And I did. Like, my hair was done. I did my hair and everything. And yeah, I think I had just cut my hair. I had just big chopped less than 3 months prior. And so I know for a fact I had to have had my hair in them little twist things or whatever. I had installed some like little twist or whatever, something like that. I forgot what it was, but yeah. So my hair looked decent. I was dressed up. I looked, professional. And I acted like I wanted the job. You know what I'm saying? Because I really did. I was going through it my last job. And I'm like, the pay? Oh, okay. And we get paid every week. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. And a full time. Okay. So, yeah. So I was like, yeah, run me all of that. And so, I don't know. Almost everybody came and they just seemed like they just was there so they wouldn't get fined. And they were just thinking, oh, well, they having this hiring event. They need people, so they just going to go ahead and hire me. I don't know. Sometimes, you could just tell that people are just there and they just like, whatever. I guess. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. I don't know. And then, like, he kept, like, talking to certain people that was coming out. Like, he's very talkative. He would roll up and, like, he saw some woman and he said to her, dang, did you get it or not? The way you looking mad. Are you all right? And she was like, no, I'm just cold. And so, I don't know. It was funny. That whole exchange was hilarious. Then this other guy, he was a young guy. He was a nice looking guy. And so, he said that he had a lot of experience, but he knows 3 people that work in there and ain't say nothing about that. Like, why wouldn't you say, oh yeah, I know this person, and this person. One of them is somebody that does my job. The guy I just told y'all about like a week ago that I worked with his mom briefly when we were at this company. We both were doing part-time work over there, but that guy actually is an amazing worker. And I'm like, and both of them, they were like, why didn't you drop their names? Like, even if you have the experience, you will get your foot in the door faster. And I mean, I hate to say it, but it really is true. Even though I had all the experience that I had, my friend, he saw my name. That's the thing. I tried to be sly. I tried to be slick about it. So my friend saw my name and he was like, this heifer ain't say nothing. And then my supervisor, if you will, that I had at the time, she told me to put her husband's name down. And I was like, okay. So I put his name down on my paperwork. And I was asked about him when I did my interview. And I was like, yeah. And I told her, I told the guy about the connection or whatever. And that was it. So because of the two of them, that might have helped me get in a little bit faster. Because they did set it off. And my interview went extremely well. So, I tend to, in my opinion, I tend to interview well, even if I'm super nervous. I was so nervous. I don't like stuff like that. I was so nervous, but I did well in that interview. So, yeah, y'all, it was a lot. But they were going off about them people, talking about they looked like they was not finna be it, and this was finna be a waste. Oh, my gosh. We was laughing so loud, and they kept looking back at us, and I was like, well, it is what it is. And so, yeah, it was funny. So, yeah, I had a good day. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to spend the first 4 hours of my day in my department, and then I'm supposed to go over to the new department. The side heifer will be over there, and her cousin, which is my partner, will be over there. All of us will be going over there 4 hours into the shift. Now, they have me on the schedule to work Sunday, which y'all already know I'm not working. I talked to my friend and I asked him, how will that go if I already have people who will work my schedule for me? And so he told me that I can, do that time, put it in for my occurrence or whatever. But I already let him know ahead of time. And he told me I can go on ahead and call out now, and they will have it where it's available for them to see that there is a spot so that they can volunteer to work my schedule for me. The woman, she only will be able to come in early. The guy, I think he can work the whole day. I'm not sure. If not, he can stay over or come in and work the first half for me. So yeah, worst case scenario is that I will just have one occurrence that I'm using. I'm gonna come in Monday because they already got my name up there to work the whole shift, and I'm just like, I shouldn't have to use my occurrences. I shouldn't have ever had to use any of my occurrences, because I've only been using my occurrences because I had to run through almost all of my time that I get paid for because they were shut down. But anyway, I ain't even gonna get into that. Y'all, let me go in this store and get this stuff and get to the house. Y'all have an amazing day. I will see y'all later. Bye.